Hey everybody, it's the Lonely Writers Vlog. This episode is not really about copyright, but it's about people who steal other people's ideas and how copyright and just laws in general are involved in that, and how people have to go through so much crap where it's like this person stole my idea, and then that person has to prove it, and then this person's already made who knows how much money off of this film or maybe TV show, and it's just like the trouble that people go through because someone stole their idea. And everyone has their own ideas. Some people will have separate ideas at the same time. One person can think of this and someone else will think of the same thing, but if one person has a patent on it or a copyright, which has happened, you can look this type of stuff up. It happens all the time where it's known that someone created something, or it's known that two people might have made the same thing, like basically at the exact same time, but just one person was smart enough to patent it first, or they were just quick enough. It's not even about smarts. It's just you were faster. You patent it, and then you make all the money, or you don't copyright something. Like a great example is Night of the Living Dead. George Romero didn't copyright that movie, so that movie was played worldwide, and he did not get money for that type of stuff. So when I heard that, I thought that was just a crazy thing, but there's really nothing he could do. He didn't have a copyright on the film. He just made it, and it was amazing, and then it got played worldwide. Um, but stuff like that you have to think about when you're making a story. Like, do you make something on your own? Like, I tend to write my stories, and it's just me. I don't really talk to people about, like, what do you think about this or what do you think about that? Because I like to, well, for me, it's not just like I don't want to be someone where anyone can claim, like, oh, you stole that idea from me. But I just like to have it be 100% my idea. It's story, the characters, the setting, all of that, the powers even. It's all driven by me. But another thing is that when you do stuff like that, you never know what's going to happen. You can have an idea that could spark from a conversation you have with someone, or just a little idea. Like I said, you're actually writing it, and then you ask someone, what do you think about this or that? And they could affect how you change it, and who knows, that could change the whole story, and they could claim that it does if you tell them that, like, if it weren't for you, the story wouldn't be this. And they could say that, and who knows what type of crazy legal stuff you have to deal with. But the biggest thing is knowing that you have this idea and keeping it, I guess, tight knit. Like, you can't, of course, just tell anybody everything. You can't tell every aspect of your story to everybody, because even if you do stuff like, if I told the whole idea for my stories on this video, I'd still have issues. Like, I could go through all the processing of saying, like, hey, I mentioned this in this video, that video, and this video, which was like years ago, and it's all the same idea, and you can clearly tell that. I could possibly win, sure, but there's a slight chance I might not. And even if I do, there's all this stuff, and there's a whole movie, but I wish I could think of the movie right now. It's I wish I could think of the name. It's something with Broncos, and I can't think of it. But it's a comedy movie, and basically, it's just this kid who writes a story. Who he loves writing stories, writes stories all the time, and he meets one of his favorite authors, and the author steals it, and he has to go through this whole thing of trying to prove that he's the one who made it and stuff. And it's a really good film. It has a lot of crazy moments. It's a lot like Napoleon Dynamite, where the characters are just really awkward and weird, but behind that, like the actual story of it, is something that in real life would just be incredibly dramatic. There wouldn't be a lot of funny moments to it. It would just be, I had this story that I really loved, and I wanted to see if one of my favorite authors likes it, and then that author steals it and gets like rich off it. It's like his next big book. So stuff like that you got to be careful about. But you definitely have to wonder, or I guess worry about, what you tell people with your own stories, where you bring ideas in from. Like, you can name characters after characters from anything else, or even repeat certain lines. That's what people do, like paying homage, which I did in another video. But you do have to be careful, basically plagiarizing other people and stealing ideas just completely and trying to rework it, because someone watching or reading or whatever, they're gonna realize that you took it from this, and basically you switched like 4 or 5 words around, but you just stole the whole idea and ripped it off. So it was just a little random thing I wanted to talk about for this video. Make sure you keep your ideas in your head. You can tell certain people, don't tell everybody, because you don't want your ideas stolen. And of course, when you have something, do get it copyrighted. You can send it to yourself in the mail. That's called the poor man's copyright. It's really easy to prove that. Just print it out, send it to yourself. When it comes back to you, just don't open it. If anyone says they had that idea before you, just say, boom, here's a sealed envelope from the post office. It's not open. I clearly had this sent to myself. It's the exact same thing that I put out, so there's no way I could have stolen it, stuff like that. So definitely do that. Keep your ideas to yourself. For the most part, you can, of course, share with people, see, get certain ideas. But when you're making a story, I don't think you should just keep it all to yourself unless you want to, like I do. I guess it's sort of, I don't want to say selfish. It's just me kind of being like, I just want it to be my ideas 100%, and it comes out, whether it's good or bad. It's like, at least I know it was 100% me that made it either good or bad. Hopefully good, of course. But definitely make sure you're careful about the ideas you tell other people, because who knows, they might have something, it's a completely new story of their own, but they take like one chunk of yours and put it in theirs, and you're like, that really sucks. I told that person this, and this was one of the things. I wouldn't have come up with it, and I wouldn't have told them about it if it wasn't an important part of the story, to me at least. Even if it doesn't build to anything huge within the story, it's something I created, and you'll be affected by that no matter what. So make sure you're smart about the things you create. Don't just tell everybody, get stuff copyrighted, because that is really important. And just make sure that your ideas are your ideas and that no one steals them from you. And definitely try to make sure you aren't being a douche and stealing other people's ideas, because that's a crappy way to live life. But thanks for checking this out. Of course, like in all the other videos, comment below if you have any information that you think is important to writing, whether it's anything about copywriting, pre-production, post-production, script, actors, anything, stuff like that. Put all that information below. I know I'll use it as best I can. Hopefully other people can find it useful as well. And thanks for checking this video out.